Hey there awesome people, Kevin Tracy here with another pixel art quickie. Before this video gets too far along, I do want to warn you that there's going to be some graphic imagery in this drawing. If you're watching this around children or snowflakes, you may want to come back and watch this later. Anyway, the reason for today's warning is twofold. First, I'm drawing VERTiiGO's character in World of Warcraft Classic. The second reason is that his character's name is Angus McFife, which means that I spent over 14 hours listening to GloryHammer's 3-album heavy metal epic. And yeah, my art tends to get a little bit bloody when I listen to metal. If you're new to this channel, I'm an artist who does a combination of pixel art, traditional art, and woodworking videos, but instead of telling you how to do what I do, I try to inspire you to create something of your own by sharing my inspirations for the art and the motivations behind the creative decisions that I make. If you're looking for creative inspiration, then hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. And if you are, then you may have stumbled into the perfect video because VERTiiGO is by far my favorite YouTube artist. Now, I'm sure somebody is out there right now writing a comment saying that I don't know what I'm talking about because VERTiiGO is a gamer, he's not an artist. And that person is half right. VERTiiGO is a gamer, but I would argue that he's also a storyteller. He streams hours at a time on Twitch with a vague idea of what he wants to accomplish, and through a mixture of wit, charm, creativity, quick thinking, and excessive swearing, he creates his own story in whatever game he's playing. He then edits that experience down into a compelling and wildly entertaining YouTube video. When I was a kid, I wasted a lot of time on video games. In hindsight, they probably kept me out of a lot of trouble, but when I turned about 17 years old, I decided that I wanted to be a content creator rather than just a content consumer. And when I made that choice, the games that I was playing just kind of took a back seat, and my art kind of took over, and I only now really play games that have an interesting or thought-provoking story or idea to them. That was 18 years ago, and to be honest, I haven't really looked back. I love creating and inspiring others to create, and that's why, even though I'm not much of a gamer anymore, I'm still a fan of VERTiiGO. As a professional comic book writer and illustrator, I can testify that both writing and drawing are, in their own ways, forms of art. However, while my skill as an illustrator is what really gets people's attention and, let's face it, gets me all the glory, what I really want to share with people are the stories that I'm creating. Between drawing and writing, the higher form of art, in my opinion, is writing. And let me provide some evidence for this. In your life, how many images have you seen in a museum that have really truly moved you or inspired you? And for me, I can think of just two. There was a single photograph titled Kitchen Back Door in a large collection of photographs from photographer Susan Carr. And I was moved by the subtlety of the profound image that she captured. And that subtlety is something that I try to infuse into how I tell stories and create art today. The other was a painting, and I can't pronounce the artist's name, so I'm not going to try here, but it was an enormous painting called A Sunday Afternoon on the Island something. This is something French. I don't remember the name of the island. Anyway, I saw this on a school field trip to the Art Institute of Chicago when I was a little kid, and someone explained to me that it was created by the artist applying hundreds of thousands of tiny little brush strokes to create points of color, and that the colors I saw weren't actually the colors that he used, because he used multiple colors closely together to create the illusion of a different color when viewed from far enough away. And you have to view it from far enough away because the thing is 10 feet wide and 6.5 feet tall, or 3 meters wide and 2 meters tall, whatever system you're from. Anyway, needless to say, this had a profound impact on my art career, and my patient obsession with individual pixels in my high-resolution pixel art was largely inspired by this. It also made me more thrilled by the technical aspect of art. How was it created? What struggles did the artist have to overcome to create it? How long did it take to create? But while these had a profound and lasting impact on me, these are just two of the tens of thousands of illustrations I've seen in galleries in my 35 years of life. Now let's ask the same of stories. How many books have you read or stories have you heard that have made a lasting, profound impact on you? For me, it's more than I can count, and I suspect that's the case for most of us. The storyteller has the power to inspire you to action, to inspire you to love, to laugh, to hate, to cry, to change. Illustrations are, by themselves, empty. When art does move us in a moment, it's often because it references a story or narrative that we're already familiar with. A great example of this is the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And if you haven't seen The Agony and the Ecstasy, do yourself a favor and read or watch it. It's about the sculptor Michelangelo being coerced into painting the ceiling and his interactions with the Pope and church leadership during a time of war. It's a great movie, great book. I highly suggest you read it. Anyway, while the ceiling was painted beautifully, its power to inspire and move someone is rooted strongly in the stories of the Old Testament that they're designed to make us recall. In reality, it's the story that gives the images their power. And interestingly, when Nazis took over Germany, Hitler began banning modern and abstract art. A lot of art elitists like to say that it's simply revenge because Hitler was rejected from their art schools before he entered politics. But the real reason I think he despised what he called degenerate art was because there were often meanings behind it, but those meanings were extremely difficult, if not completely impossible to decipher. An artist could create an abstract art piece critical of the Reich, but offer an alternate, equally plausible explanation of how it glorified Hitler. Now, Hitler didn't fear the image, he feared the subtle hidden narratives that he couldn't control, and in a totalitarian regime, that just simply couldn't be allowed. So screw Hitler and those fascists, and let's celebrate the art of the story and artist storytellers like VERTiiGO. And I owe VERTiiGO a debt of gratitude. It's because of him that I looked up GloryHammer's song Angus McFife on Spotify when looking for tunes to draw to. Now, as a story lover myself, you can imagine my enormous delight when I learned that Angus McFife was just one song on an entire album that told one enormous fantasy story about an immortal evil that used undead unicorns to slaughter the people of Angus McFife's homeland and his eventual victory over the evil one back in ancient times. And okay, then imagine my freaking ecstasy when I found out the next two albums told a sequel, but instead of being set in ancient fantasy times, it starts in the spacefaring year of 1992, and Angus McFife the 13th travels to the 18th hell dimension to fight the forces of evil while forces of good battle moon trolls, demons on Mars, and the undead in dwarvish minds on Earth. Yes, this is a trilogy of metal rock operas. Yes, it's as ridiculous as it sounds, and yes, it is absolutely freaking awesome. My favorite albums in the world are the ones that dedicate themselves to telling a story, the famous rock opera. Like Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, that's entertained me for years, and I'm still in awe at Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick. Thick as a Brick is not only dedicated to telling a story, but the entire album is one song. Yeah, it took both sides of a vinyl record to do, but it's still just one song, and it's an absolutely amazing experience to listen to. But GloryHammer is a band that has dedicated not just a single album to telling a story, but they've dedicated their entire existence as a band to telling a ridiculously original story through ancient times, the distant future in outer space, and transdimensional portals. I'm amazed that this is at all a viable business model for a band. I'm inspired as an artist and as a writer creating my own comic book epic independently. I'm thrilled that since they have 3 albums out, I can listen to the story on repeat and never get tired of hearing the same songs over and over again because it takes so long for them to repeat. VERTiiGO may have unintentionally introduced me to the best music I have ever been introduced to, assuming that finding my grandfather's old record collection of progressive rock albums in the basement closet as a kid and then figuring out how to play them doesn't count. Anyway, let's talk about this story, the story of this art piece. VERTiiGO's Angus McFife is a heroic king of legend in World of Warcraft. Granted, the game designers didn't really plan for this, but this is just how VERTiiGO rolls, so go with it. Anyway, he's formed a guild to take command of the Alliance, which he has called the Noob Army. His divinely ordained mission as the king of the noobs is to invade the Horde, a nasty, vile collection of warmongering players who don't know their days are numbered now that the legendary Angus McFife has appeared. This art is a tribute to the king of the noobs and the commander of the Noob Army. Those of us who have enlisted in the Noob Army have been gifted the privilege by our glorious king of wearing the tabard of Angus McFife. It is lined with gold and features a red and definitely not pink V. A constant reminder... I can't do this. A constant reminder of our... Sorry, I have the giggles still. A constant reminder of our unity behind VERTiiGO's greatness and our goal of victory over the Horde. He stands on a platform in Silver Moon City, a Horde stronghold, gripping a sword with a golden hilt in one hand and holding the freshly severed head of an orc assassin sent to collect the beautiful scalp of Angus McFife in the other. As the orc's lifeblood drains from the empty void between its ears, it spills onto Angus's glorious golden boots, onto the floor of the platform and off the edge into the streets below, for the streets of all Horde cities will be flowing with the blood of Horde assassins when Angus McFife and the noob army have finished their pillage. Unfortunately, VERTiiGO was betrayed by his girlfriend, who started playing World of Warcraft a couple weeks before him. She joined the Horde at that time, and she's refused to switch sides. So I think it's safe to say that Angus McFife is not completely heartless. I suspect he'll allow at least one Tauren to live after she kneels before the new king. Okay, all joking aside, this is kind of an artsy choice on my part to parody Star Wars a bit by putting her character in the Leia slave costume from Return of the Jedi. First off, I know VERTiiGO is a fan of George Lucas' Star Wars, so I think he'd probably get a kick out of a Star Wars reference in his tribute art. Taking it another step further though, his girlfriend, who goes by Tank Girl on YouTube and Twitch, is often his foil, and comedic foil at that. It often provides an entertaining twist to their gaming collaborations. Anyway, I thought the Leia slave outfit was particularly fitting here because, although Leia was Jabba the Hutt's slave, she still brutally killed him the first chance she got. So although this piece features VERTiiGO's character triumphant and Tank Girl's character as subservient, the outfit should imply that she's not as harmless as she looks, and is, in fact, ridiculously capable and dangerous. Okay, that's the foreground. Let's talk about the background. When I was doing this, I was just going to draw them on a blood-stained road. However, a couple things occurred to me. First, I thought the orc's severed head would look a lot more dramatic if it was the only blood in the image. Secondly, this is Angus freaking McFife here. He needed something more epic than a stone road to stand on. And as I looked for images of Horde cities, I saw some characters standing on a platform in Silver Moon City, and I instantly knew this was it. The 3 diamonds on the platform would look almost like 3 golden V's, and I decided it would be even more epic if the V's would be outlined where the gold meets the rest of the floor by blood filling into that small crack between them. And I could think of no greater place and no greater image for our hero to be in his moment of triumph. And I am really happy with the way that this turned out. In total, it took a little bit more than 14 hours of pure drawing time to put together. Truthfully, I had hoped to spend about half that, but as I started thinking about ways to make this more incredible, I just simply couldn't half-ass it. So you may have noticed at some point that I did erase the hand of holding the sword, and it turned it a bit. As I looked at that hand, it just looked really wrong being twisted at that angle, and holding a sword especially would just be painful even for the great Angus McFife. The rest of the piece was coming together so well that I simply had to change it. Otherwise, it was going to be all I could look at whenever I looked at this thing. And you know what? I'm glad that I did. One of these days, I'm going to have to do a video talking about the differences between mistakes and happy little accidents, because I do believe in both, and that distinction is something that I thought about a lot while drawing this piece. Anyway, with the hand fixed, Angus McFife again appeared as the perfect specimen of humanity that he truly is. As always, let me know what you think. If you like this video or the art, let me know by hitting that like button, and consider subscribing. One of the greatest things about being a relatively small channel is that I can take the time to respond to all of your comments and talk to you guys one-on-one. So if you have any questions about how I did anything in this or any of my other videos, just go ahead and ask in the comments below or message me at ktracy.com. And maybe you didn't like the video. That's cool too. But do me a favor and let me know why in the comments. Even if you're just being a jerk about it, I really do appreciate all the feedback I get, and negative comments will oftentimes help me discover new ways to improve my videos and my art. So anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I hope to catch you all again next week. Hey, before you go, the playlist on the left is a collection of all my other time-lapse pixel art videos, and on the right is a video that YouTube thinks you'll like based on all their nerdy computer science stuff. Either way, I think you'll have a good time. Thanks for watching.